Good morning, everybody. I'm making a short video to introduce to you the next material that we're gonna be working on for next week, and on which the group of week 9 will have to present. So far we've been dealing with video materials, talks and conferences given by philosophers and experts in the neurosciences and in digital technology. Next week instead we're going to be focusing on a written text, namely Descartes' meditation. This is a text that some of you, those of you who have taken the core curriculum, hence all of you, have already encountered, and those of you who have taken the core curriculum with me have read this text to a certain depth and from a certain angle. Why am I reproposing to you Descartes' meditations? Until now, we have been seeing how much of the discourse around AI has been focused on the understanding that we have of intelligence, consciousness, and what the human being is in general. The aim of this course is to make you see how the discourse about AI is to be read within a certain discourse that Western civilization has developed in the last 500 years on the themes of intelligence, of what it means to be human, and of consciousness. The last author we touched is Bostrom, and Bostrom gives a quite alarming perspective on the future of AI. However, we've seen how Bostrom's position are ultimately untenable because they do not account well enough for the phenomenon of intelligence and the phenomenon of consciousness, which, when it comes to the human being, are linked to the other main characterizing phenomenon in the human being, which is that of will. We've seen, in other words, how the hypothesis that machines become intelligent the way we are intelligent is implausible, is unlikely, because machines are not provided with consciousness to begin with self-consciousness, and hence they do not have will. Will is a characteristically human phenomenon. One of the problems that this characteristically human phenomenon poses is how will can and should be directed. Human beings do whatever they do through will. However, this doesn't mean that human beings do things randomly. Human beings always direct their will according to certain reasons, and in turn, these reasons are given and are identified as reasons through a certain thinking process. There is hence a linkage between will as the decision-taking moment and intelligence as the moment in which human beings come up with reasons to take certain decisions. How then to guarantee that the decisions we take are good? This problem can be also framed as the problem of what do we recognize to be true. Why can it be framed this way? Well, because when we take a decision, when we decide for hypothesis A instead of hypothesis B as the ground out of which we're going to then operate, this decision is taken out of the conviction that the hypothesis we have identified corresponds to truth. It gives us, in other words, a true state of affairs. It gives us an accurate assessment of reality. Indeed, this problem has been framed historically as the problem of truth. In other words, how to identify what is true in order for us to then take decisions. The problem then becomes exactly that. How do I know what is true? Let me repeat, why do I want to know what is true? Because based on that, I can then direct my will. The one who has framed the problem in these terms in the most clear way is René Descartes, particularly in his work, The Meditations. The Meditations are centered exactly on this problem. What do I know with the utmost certainty, and hence as that thing on which I can base solid decisions and based on which I can direct my operating. I'm asking you hence to read this work, Descartes' Meditations, because it is in this work that on the one hand the problem of will as based on the problem of truth comes to the fore, as I already told you. But also, and connected to what I just said, because in this way of framing the problem, Descartes formulates a new understanding of truth, which has then influenced the way in which we understand truth even today. Since Descartes on, truth has been understood as what is certain. And what is certain? Certain is the ascertainable. In order for something to be ascertained, the thing must be able to be looked at, analyzed, and put against certain, or shall I say, solid, undoubtable standards. And these solid and undoubtable standards are recognized by Descartes to be those given to us by mathematics and geometry. This is a very significant change in the understanding of truth, which brings with itself a very important change in the understanding of what it means to think and hence to act properly. Truth from now on, from Descartes on, becomes, as I told you, the ascertainable. So, what is true is what can be mathematically and geometrically formulated and ascertained on the one hand. Given the fact that I and every human being must direct our acting based on what we know to be true, it follows that I must act and organize my activities and my decisions around what mathematical geometrical assertions tell me. This is the deep root of all the discourse about AI as intelligent, as something that can be intelligent. Why is that? Because through this frame put together by Descartes, thinking is tacitly but deeply equated with ascertainability. Thinking means to carry out a series of mathematical geometrical operations which are going to give us certainty regarding things, and based on this certainty we will then be able to act. The book itself, the Meditations, is, as you will remember, divided into 6 days. Each day corresponds to a problem, and each problem corresponds to a certain solution given by Descartes. Okay? What I want you to do, all of you and those who are going to present the next for the next week, is to read the book, analyze it in its structure, so to be able to say what each day is centered on as a problem and what kind of solution Descartes gives, and to think on how this Cartesian frame is the frame on which we still operate. After this week, we will then read another author who has been pivotal in the development of the way in which we think about human activity as directed by ascertainable truth. That author is Francis Bacon. And we will then finish with a view on other ways in which Western thought has instead been thinking about truth. This other way, which is much more ancient than the Cartesian way, we will see in the last 2 weeks of our course, so week 11 and 12, considering that week 13 is going to be dedicated to consultation and revision. This video, as I told you, is intended to introduce you quickly to what I want you to focus on when reading Descartes, and to give you a simple, short, and I hope helpful introduction to the book itself. I'm going to upload now the book on eDimension together with this video. This video I will upload also on my YouTube channel, and we will continue this conversation that I started today next week. Thank you for your attention.